Hey guys, we have a great episode ahead of us today. In today's episode, we're going to cover 5 areas of grooming that you can focus on to increase your confidence and increase others' confidence in you. I look forward to going through a little bit of detail and sharing some stories and background about my own routines with you guys, and hopefully bringing to light some areas where you might be able to improve and see some positive impact on the way that you carry yourself throughout every day and every week. With that all being said, let's jump into this episode. This isn't a show about how to be a gentleman, but it's about the art of living like one. Leave us comments. Remember, like, subscribe, share this with friends, and really hope that you enjoy this conversation. All right, guys, we're back with the gentlemanly things after a few weeks off. We appreciate you sticking with us and giving us that time off. Things at Henry Davidson have been really busy this fall. Great things that are happening. And I wanted to just make sure I was focused on primary business and getting us set up to go into the holiday season on a high note. And things are going really great. I'm really excited to be back with you guys this week for another episode of the Gentlemanly Things. The last time we were here, we were talking about confidence, and we used a couple of fun quotes just to get us thinking in different ways about what dressing can do for us and how we can present ourselves. And today I want to expand on that idea of confidence that I was talking about and give you guys just a little bit of insight with maybe 5 or 6 tips around grooming and grooming ideas that will help increase that confidence and help you come across presenting a little bit more gentlemanly with paying attention to those details. Let's jump right into it. First, I want to start with some of the obvious things. First, a great new haircut, right? Keeping your hair in check is a great way to step out every day with confidence, to have others view you with confidence and looking like you're paying attention to the details, right? If you put a guy who's really unkempt next to a guy who's got everything put together, you're pretty quickly going to be pulled in the direction of the guy that looks like he took a little bit more time to prepare himself and take care of himself. So, side-by-sides are really easy, but when you don't have that side-by-side, inherently we are wired. We read certain things naturally that give us a feeling about somebody, right? A haircut is one of the first things we see. We're looking at people's faces, and if we can clearly see their face framed and balanced well by the way they've cut and styled their hair, then it just all kind of falls into place. When somebody's got a haircut that doesn't really balance them well, or is clearly trying to hide something, or just looks like they didn't care about it, then we wonder what else they're not caring about. So keeping that clean, fresh haircut, if you think about when you leave your barber or when you leave your stylist or salon, what you feel like, you walk out of there, at least I walk out feeling refreshed. I feel on top of the world. I feel kind of ready to take something a little bit bigger on that day. And that is all really easy things to stay on top of. A couple things about haircuts. I, forever and ever as a kid and through my years in college, would just go to the local barbershop in my community. And you sit and you wait and you get, at the time, it was probably $15 to $20 for a haircut, including the tip at the time. And I'd get a really basic haircut. It would be short, it would be clean, but I never really did much to style it as a kid. Nobody really taught me. The woman that cut my hair in that shop never really did much about, hey, let's play with your hair this way. Let's do this. It was always just the same cut over and over and over again. And I didn't know any different. Once I graduated college and I started this business, I had a friend at the time say, look, you should try out this new place in the city. I started going there. I really like this stylist. Go talk to them. And my $20 haircut became a $40 haircut. And I noticed a difference. It was a nicer experience. They would wash my hair before they got started. That had never happened in the local barbershop. And they would suggest different products for me. They would put product in my hair at the end of the appointment. And I started learning a little bit more care about how to style and take care of my hair. Fast forward a little bit farther and more in my neighborhood now, we were working with a PR agency, and they suggested that we talk to another one of the clients in the neighborhood, a salon that had been around for 30 or so years at that point, in entering into its second generation. The sons actually were working alongside the father. And that's still where I get my haircut today. They also own a series of barbershops around the neighborhood that they've grown and expanded to. But going in there, it was the first time I understood the pattern that my hair grew in and why my hair should be styled a certain way. And then really starting to work with various products. Now I didn't only get a wash before the haircut, but after the haircut as well. One of the things that always drove me nuts about getting my haircut was that there'd be loose hairs in, the collar of my shirt, or I'd be itching or scratching the rest of the day, and I couldn't wait to come home and get in the shower. Now, after the haircut, they rinse me out again. I get a second wash. I get a hot towel. I get all the loose hairs off my face. And it's just one of those small little details that makes a difference. That experience, again, comes with a little bit of a higher cost, but again, I'm getting a little bit more out of it. And I've learned a lot more over the years about how to better style my hair, including using a blow dryer for the first time. Understanding that a blow dryer can take some of the curve out of the hair and really get it in place and add volume and everything else. I really encourage you, find a local salon, a local barbershop, connect with somebody that you can ask those questions about how your hair grows, what some of the best product is, and then stay on top of it. Schedule your appointments every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever style you're keeping in your hair, whatever cadence that it requires. Stay on top of it. Don't let it get shaggy. A good salon, you can go back in between haircuts, and they'll trim you up and kind of clean up your neck and clean up around your ears. Take those opportunities to stay clean and neat and trim, and you'll come across in a smarter way to your audience. You'll also carry yourself with more confidence on a daily basis, just knowing that you have that all taken care of. Kind of a simple thing, but we all have to get our haircut, but we probably don't put as much intention into it, right? And the theme that we've really uncovered in this show is that a gentlemanly thing is something that's done with intention and a little bit more time and care to it. So when it comes to how we present ourselves, our hair and the style of our hair and taking care of it is really important. And that will, like I said, increase that confidence for you. What should you be paying for a haircut? I think, really anywhere between $40 and $75 for a men's haircut is reasonable, depending on the experience you're getting and the atmosphere of what you're creating. The ability to schedule ahead of time with an appointment or versus just walking in and having to wait. Again, it's your time and you make the value out of it that makes sense to you. I know other people that are charging 100 plus, 100, 125, 150 or more for a men's haircut. I think at that range, you probably aren't gaining that much more incremental difference. There are providers out there that for that $40 to $75 or so range are going to give you a great experience, a great haircut, and something that will help you walk around with that confidence we're talking about. I think I belabored that point enough. Let's go to point number 2. The second element of grooming I wanted to talk about today was shaving and keeping our face clean. So we're starting from the top. We're moving down a little bit now to the face. Not even all that long ago, there were a lot of companies that would not let you keep a beard. Part of their dress code was that men had to be clean shaven. And that wasn't all that long ago. That was the early 2000s, the 90s, and prior to that. But I think you started seeing this shift a little bit in the late 2000s and the mid 2010s. One of the most famous organizations to have this rule was the New York Yankees. If you were a Yankees player for the longest time, you could not have facial hair. And I believe now they've relaxed that rule. And it was pretty big news when they did it just a couple of years ago. Corporations would not allow you to keep a beard. And so why is that? Well, the impression of keeping a beard in the old days was that you were hiding something. If you were trying to hide your face, what else were you hiding, right? And that was the judgment that would come across with keeping a beard. Nowadays, you'll see a lot of guys have beards. It's become not necessarily fashion, but just a little bit more accepted. And a beard is actually a great tool because it can help change the lines on your face to create a little bit more stronger or more masculine lines, depending on the shape of your face that you have. The other thing, it can make you look a little bit older. It can bring a little bit more sophistication to the impression and the confidence that you carry. Personally, I've had a beard, I think as long as I can remember at this point, but I always keep it, for the most part, trim, short, well shaped, and really it has never been anything that has hindered me. If anything, it's brought a little bit of an air of me, making me look and feel a little bit older and more sophisticated. Same thing with intention. You have to take care of it. So there was a time I had actually grown a really long beard. I had let my beard grow out for 3-4 months or so. And when I did that, I really had to use beard balms and other product to keep the beard from looking scraggly, to keep it shaped. You have to get it trimmed. You can't just let it grow unhinged, but you want to shape the beard and, again, put that intention and time into it, and it can become a great tool. That little bit of detail, if it's not taken care of, is going to make you look more like somebody that isn't giving any thought or care to the way they present themselves. And that actually comes across as lacking confidence, as opposed to taking time to shape, care for, condition the hair on your face if you have a longer beard, and really do it in the right way. One of the local influencers that I know, he's a friend of mine, Greg Berzinski, here in Philadelphia. If you ever look at his Instagram, you'll see he's got a really beautiful white flowing beard and mustache, and usually he'll grow it out at Christmas and do something to play kind of Santa Claus with that. And I know he represents a brand of beard balms and other products that you might want to look into. I've never used them, but I like Greg. I think he's one of the nicest people. And I would encourage you, if you aren't already aware of him, maybe look up his profile. And if you're keeping a beard, maybe look into some of the products that he's using. All I know is what I see, which is the results of the products he uses. And he's got a great beard. The beard I kept at one point, eventually I got rid of it. I shaved it down, and for a couple times I had a month or two worth of a mustache, and I would keep a mustache in a traditional handlebar mustache. I would always put wax in it. I would shape it. And again, I got a lot of random strangers on the street who would compliment me and say, "Hey, that's a great mustache." Really, it's something that became a little bit unique, but I was able to maintain the professional air of, being a clothier and an image consultant. And it wasn't something that hindered my appearance, but it actually helped increase my confidence for the time that I kept it. It's a lot of work, though. It would take me time in the morning. And again, I put the time and intention into it. And every day, I didn't necessarily feel like doing it. But once it was done, I would step out of the house with more confidence. And then that confidence would be reflected throughout the day when those strangers would compliment me or say something nice about the mustache. All right, guys. So speaking of facial hair and mustaches, it is November. And when I had my mustache, the first was to kind of test it out because I wanted to participate in the Movember Foundation fundraising later that year. And so I shaved it off for the summer. But then, around August, I started growing the beard out again in preparation to shave it down into a mustache for Movember and raise some money for a great cause. So the Movember Foundation, if you aren't familiar with it, is set up to really address men's prostate cancer. And they encourage you to grow a mustache for the month of November. They call it Movember, and go out and raise dollars in support of your mustache for your friends. So some of the images here that you see were from when I participated in that, raised some funds for a charity, and it was a lot of fun, but it also gave me the push to get over really, I didn't think I could wear a mustache, but once I really got into it and had grown one and styled it correctly and got all the positive feedback from it, it showed me that it was something I could incorporate into a look. And if you know anything about famous mustaches from the past, a lot of distinguished gentlemen throughout history were always known to have a well-styled mustache. We are in November, or Movember as we call it. If you don't know somebody personally who's raising funds, please just go to their website, maybe pick somebody that might have a profile there and give them some support and cheer on their mustache that they're raising funds for a great cause to look into prostate cancer research and give support to men that are dealing with this unfortunate disease. Now that I have the shorter beard, I also get those compliments. I've had people comment on, hey, how do you keep such clean lines on your neck? And it's really just taking that time and attention. And if you are going to take the whole beard off and keep a clean shaven face, just a couple tips for you that I learned when I first studied image consulting. I never really knew that there was a proper way to shave. But when you shave your beard, you want to first make sure you moisten and warm up and soften the hairs on your face. So if you ever go get a professional straight razor shave, that's one of the most ultimate luxuries that a guy can get. You just relax. Oftentimes you end up falling asleep during it. I'll talk a little bit more about that after I give you these tips, but you want to start by preparing the face. You want to open up the pores of the face. So after a hot shower, most of us don't have the ability to necessarily do a warm towel wrap at home. I always shave after a shower, which is different than my father. My father always shaved before the shower. He would wash his face. So he did soften up the hairs and the whiskers a little bit there. But it probably wasn't opening up the pores quite the right way that lead to a cleaner shave. Once you prepare your face and then you apply whatever it is that you use, whether that's a shave cream or a shave gel, and then you're going to go ahead and shave. But you should actually be shaving twice if you want the closest shave. So the first pass, you want to shave with the grain of the hair on your face, and that will keep from irritating your face by not pulling the long hair in the wrong direction and potentially ripping it or cutting it too short with the longer hairs that might get caught in the blade. And then you actually want to reapply cream a second time. And the second pass, you want to shave against the grain. So understanding how the hair on your face grows, you might want to go down first and then up second on the cheeks. Down on the neck, it may grow in a different direction. So really just kind of paying attention to which direction that hair grows and then going with the grain on the first pass, going against the grain on the second pass. That will eliminate the irritation on your face and the redness and any bumps or ingrown hairs that you might get. And then the final piece of that is once you've completed your shave, you actually then need to close the pores. So you want to cleanse off any leftover cream or gel with cold water or a cold towel. That will help close the pores, and then put an aftershave cream or facial moisturizer on to go ahead and add that moisture and, again, help condition the skin so that it doesn't look dried out. Any irritation that might have formed heals more quickly. And then you'll step out with a nice clean shave on your face without any irritation that comes with it. The products I've found that I've really liked over the last couple of years, I've been really into Harry's, and nobody's paying me to say this. There's no sponsorship of this show at this point, maybe in the future, but just want to share with you guys what I found that I like, and I really like the products that Harry's has put out. Prior to that, I used to use just simple Gillette products, basically the most available product on the market. But when Harry's came out, I was actually introduced to their founders around the same time that we had attempted to open up a barbershop in the Henry Davidson showroom. And they were also graduates from Wharton. And two of the guys that started Harry's had broken off from Warby Parker, which was really just accelerating at the time. And they founded this company, Harry's, which really put out simple products, good products at a fair price. And I've really followed their story all along. So I use their original shave. They just came out with a new razor that's a little bit more flexible to contour to the face. I've started using that, but because I don't shave my whole face, I don't know that I see a ton of difference between that and the original. If you guys are using that and you love it so far, definitely leave some comments. If you're using something else, let me know what you're using in the comments, because I'd really be curious to see what else is out there, test various different products and see if there's something that maybe works better for me than what I'm currently using, and just kind of curious to know, have you guys share what's out there. You have the shave cream or shave gel. Harry's has an aftershave mist, which I really enjoy. It's kind of like a facial spray, but it mists and moistens the skin. And then one of their new products I've started using, they have a cooling kind of under eye application to, you just kind of put it on, and there's a little applicator that helps rub it in, but it helps to relieve the tiredness from under the eyes. And again, when you show up looking alive, looking energized, there's much more confidence that comes with that. If you're showing up with bags under your eyes, just women know this way better than men do, but it's the same effect. You look tired, you look sick, somebody wonders what's wrong. You don't display as much confidence, even though you might feel it when you come across to your audience. Some of that credibility doesn't translate when you have those tired bags underneath your eyes. So sometimes it's hereditary. Sometimes there's a medical condition causing that. There are products out there that will certainly help address that. And I think it's becoming a little bit more mainstream and accepted for men to be using these products than it has in the past. So definitely go give it a try. Let me know what you're using, and let's keep going with the other elements of grooming that we want to cover. Speaking of things that are more traditionally known to women and less often used for men, taking care of the nails on your hands and your feet. Men, it's okay to go to the salon and get a manicure and a pedicure. I've done it myself. I don't do it all that often. But when I do it, it's quite enjoyable. We have quite a few clients that come in, and I will notice that their fingernails have a little bit more shine to them than a natural fingernail might. So quite often it's not getting a colored polish applied, but there's clear polishes that will help build and protect the integrity of the nail. Keeping your hands clean when you show up to meet somebody for the first time. One of the first things we often do is shake hands to introduce ourselves. And if you're shaking hands and your hands are rough and covered in calluses and don't feel like you've paid attention to them, well, the impression you leave on somebody else is very different than a hand that's taken care of. So take care of the skin on your hands, because we do have contact with one another quite often through handshakes. But you could do it yourself at home. Most of us don't actually know how to do that, the same way that a salon would, or care to take the time. So going into a salon, having a manicure and a pedicure done, it's a nice indulgence. It takes maybe 30 to 45 minutes of time. For guys, we don't have to sit there quite as long as women who get the other gel and polishes that take a while to cure. The clear polish, I'll often, when I get a pedicure, get a matte polish on my toes, just kind of for fun. And it doesn't create that shine or anything. And it takes only about 2 to 3 minutes or so to dry. So in the meantime, they're going to take all that dead skin off of your hands and your feet. They're going to clean up the nail beds. They're going to trim your nails and shape them so that they're presenting well. And then with the pedicure, you get a really nice foot massage and a leg rub, and it really becomes an indulgent, similar to the shave I was talking about earlier. If you go get a professional shave done, oftentimes that will come with a cleanser for the face, a nice facial massage, not just the regular shave. It's an indulgence, and it takes you away and out of your daily routine for just a little bit of time, 45 minutes to an hour, but it's time where you can use that time to recharge, to treat yourself. And when you take care of yourself, you're coming out again with more confidence on that other side. Guys, I think you just need to hear it. It's okay to go to the nail salon, and you're going to come out on the other side with more confidence and other people reading that confidence in you. If you get your nails done already, let me know again in the comments. If it's something that you haven't done and you're going to go try, would love to hear what you thought of the experience. I'm going to tell you, I think it's great, and I wish I made more time for myself. Maybe after this, I will. But it's something I've done in the past, and it's totally okay for guys to do. And I'm always kind of thinking, when I see my clients that I know had just gotten a manicure, obviously usually their feet are covered, so I don't know what's going on down there. But when I see that their nails on their hands are well taken care of, I often think, I need to make some time and go do that for myself. Another area of grooming that guys often overlook, and it's a skill that's really kind of disappeared. We've seen a lot of shops clothes in Philadelphia that provided the service, but getting your shoes shined, really taking care of your shoes and presenting your shoes in a clean way is another thing that will give you confidence and give others confidence in you. There's a saying when I first started my business that I was studying image consulting that I read, which was to know if a man is well dressed, look down. And what they're saying is, look at his shoes. Are the shoes up to date in terms of style? But more importantly, are they cared for? If you are wearing around scuffed shoes and they've got scratches on them and scuffs and the leather looks dry or cracked, you're really kind of, again, giving a hint to your audience that you aren't paying attention to all of the details and that you're letting things slip through the cracks. The feet are actually the most honest part of the body. And the reason for that, so when we talk about body language, which is a whole nother topic for another day, but just a quick little tip for you guys, the feet are the farthest part from our brain. If it shows that we aren't really paying attention to everything, naturally, when our body has the language that it gives, right, the motions and reactions that are going to show that we are confident or that we are maybe hiding something, when it comes down to the feet often aren't thought about. They kind of naturally do what the feeling of the body is. So look at the direction they're pointed. If they're pointed toward you when somebody's talking to you, well, that means that person is engaged with you. If they're kind of pointed away, that person is really not engaged. They're thinking about something else. They want to get out of the conversation. Oftentimes it'll be pointed toward the door. Crossing our feet tells us something about confidence in various different ways. It doesn't just mean one thing. You have to know how to read the baseline body language and then go from there. In terms of shoe shines, right? So because the feet are the most honest part of the body, looking at somebody's shoes is really important because if you have them shined up, you are paying attention to everything in between is the impression that you're going to leave. Get your shoes shined. It's typically $6 to go to a professional. You get to sit in a nice comfy chair, read a magazine, play a game on your phone, catch up on email, whatever you might do for the 5 to 10 minutes that somebody is going to add some polish and conditioning to your shoes and really bring them back to life with a nice shine that's going to present with more confidence for you overall. If you're not getting the pedicures, before I first ever went and got a pedicure, I had a lot of shoe shines done. It's, even though you have shoes on, you still get a little feeling of what that's going to be. Somebody rubbing, the shoe to massage the cream into the leather, still feels nice on your feet. It's a nice little treat. Guys, get your shoes shined. Really, if you're not going to a shoe shiner, shine them at home. A lot of people really enjoy the ritual of taking care of their shoes at home, but keeping them shined is going to make the shoe last longer. It's going to condition the leather, keep it from drying out. As the leather moves and you walk throughout the day, it's not going to create as many creases on it. And at the end of the day, keep your shoes on shoe trees to pull the moisture out and then expand back the leather and any creasing that might happen from the bending of your foot throughout the day. So just a few tips on shoes, but it's a nice indulgent for myself. Anytime I can go and get my shoes shined, it's, again, just like that manicure pedicure break. It's a couple minute break in my day where somebody else is taking care of me, giving a little bit of pampering, giving me some time to relax and disconnect from all of the other busy things I'm doing on a regular basis. The last thing I want to touch on is just general cleanliness. We need to bathe every day. Most of us shower 1 to 2 times a day. And take care of ourselves. You never want to be the smelly person. If you're somebody who struggles with being a little bit extra sweaty or sweats a lot, there are various different things out there. One of the best changes I made for myself was years ago, I stopped using an antiperspirant and I just use a plain deodorant. Guys, antiperspirants don't actually stop you from sweating. If you've noticed that, antiperspirant generally contains an aluminum base to it. And when you sweat and that aluminum base mixes, that's what causes the yellowing of your undershirts or any garments that you might be wearing. So if you've noticed that your shirts turn yellow over time, maybe try switching from an antiperspirant to just a plain deodorant. And you'll notice that your clothes will last longer. I've been wearing undershirts for the better part of 10 years that we sell at Henry Davidson. They're organic Pima cotton. They are the most comfortable and soft shirts that I've worn to date. I really love them when I get home at the end of a work day and I take the work clothes off, I will often leave the undershirt on as a t-shirt for the rest of the night, just because they're that comfortable. But even my white ones over years and years and years of use have not discolored or gotten crusty under the armpits like most shirts do. And if that's happened to you, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just switching from the antiperspirant to deodorant only really helped to extend the life of my clothing. And I found that I didn't sweat any more than I was already sweating before when I still used the antiperspirant, because it never stopped me from sweating in the first place. So bathing ourselves, we all sweat throughout the day. You don't always feel it, but there's going to be sweat that happens. Part of what causes the odor, one of the interesting things I read at one point was that sweat itself, the molecules of water that our skin secretes to cool us down, sweat doesn't actually smell. It doesn't have a smell to it. What smells is there's a small bacteria that live on the surface of our skin, and that bacteria will eat the sweat. And it's the bacteria that are feeding on the sweat that create the smell. So when we keep our skin clean on a daily basis, multiple times a day in some cases, then we get rid of that bacteria. And if we're sweating, there's nothing there to eat the sweat. The sweat just evaporates and keeps us cool like it's supposed to do, but it won't actually create some of the odors that we sometimes get when think about, we worked out and we're stinky and smelly and sweaty. Just an interesting tidbit there that if you are sweating, that you may want to consider bathing a little bit more often, or at least bathing before you sweat, which seems counterintuitive. And then, of course, after you've worked out, you maybe want to shower again, making sure that there's no bacteria that remain on the skin that are going to absorb and consume that sweat, that are going to create the odors that are going to make everybody else around you not want to be around you. So that's a little bit of a fun tip. Otherwise, use colognes sparingly. Not everybody appreciates a strong smell. A lot of people actually have reactions to smells. So if you're going to use cologne, just dab little bit on maybe your wrist, which the reason it goes on the wrist or behind the ears, those are thinner spots on the body. So it actually can absorb a little bit more easily through the skin, and it will actually absorb into the bloodstream a little bit, which carries the smell all around our bodies. Guys, I think that covers a few great general tips, and hopefully I brought a little bit more color to it with some of the stories. Again, if you're using any certain products that you want to share, please leave in the comments. I would love to try different things. I would love to know what you guys are using. If you have any questions about what I'm using, I'm happy to share, give you some more insight into how I found it or what I think about it, and go from there. There's a gajillion products out there. There's a product for everything. So, you have to try and see what works for you. A lot of times it's trial and error. Sometimes it depends on what your mood is for that day. You may want your hair to be a little bit more cleanly groomed one day versus maybe looking a little bit more intentionally ruffled and maybe a little bit more body, like you've just been at the beach. There's products that make it feel like you have salt air hair out there. Think about who your audience is for the day. Think about the mood you're in. Think about what you're trying to accomplish, and just make sure you put that intention into everything that you do to elevate from the status quo into a gentlemanly thing. Thanks for spending time with me today to have this conversation about 5 areas of grooming that can increase your confidence. And if you like this, please leave us a comment. Remember to like, share, subscribe. And we really appreciate the support that you guys have all been showing us up to this point. Tell a friend who could use this information or who would enjoy this show. Get the word out there. I am really having a fun time bringing this content to you guys. And I appreciate the feedback I've heard from many of you out there so far, that you're enjoying the content and that you're finding it valuable. I want to make sure that the time we spend together is valuable for you. I look forward to being back with you guys again next week. And until then, thanks for tuning in to The Gentlemanly Things.